All right, let's talk about one of the most explosive stocks on the market right now, Eli Lilly. I mean, this thing has been on an unbelievable tear, but its price is so high, it has everybody asking the same thing. Is this a rocket ship that still has room to fly? Or are we looking at a bubble that's just about to pop? Let's dig in and break it all down. So, first things first, let's just try to get a handle on the incredible momentum that has everyone talking. And believe me, when you see the numbers, you'll get why. Just look at this. In the last 90 days, just 90 days, the stock has shot up nearly 29%. To give you some perspective, that's the kind of return most people dream of making in a full year, and Lilly pulled it off in 1 quarter. That is the very definition of a stock that is absolutely on fire. Now, of course, the big driver here, the one everyone knows, is their famous line of obesity drugs. And don't worry, we're going to get to that. But what you really need to understand is that the story here is getting bigger. For instance, they just got a breakthrough therapy designation for a brand new cancer drug. And that shows you that Eli Lilly isn't just a one-trick pony. Their innovation pipeline is deep. And in the pharma world, that is absolutely critical for long-term growth. Okay, so this insane run-up brings us to the real dilemma, right? It's the core question for anyone looking at this company today. When a stock moves this far, this fast, you have to take a step back and ask, all right, what happens next? I mean, you see the stock trading for well over $1,000 a share, and the big question becomes impossible to ignore. Is all the good news, all that future growth, already baked into the price? Is there any value left for someone coming in now? And to figure that out, you really have to understand the two completely opposite stories that are being told about its value. On one side, you have this story of incredible, unprecedented growth. And on the other, you have a story of massive risk because the price is just so high. So let's start with the bull case, the optimistic side. And it's really all about one thing, a kind of growth that you almost never see in the traditional pharmaceutical industry. At the very center of all this excitement is this blockbuster drug franchise called tirzepatide. You can think of this one single drug compound as the engine that is just powering this whole company forward. And they've been incredibly smart about how they've packaged it for two of the biggest health markets on the planet. See, it's sold as Mounjaro for type 2 diabetes and as Zepbound for obesity. It's the same drug underneath it all, but they're using it to tap into two separate, absolutely massive and fast-growing groups of patients. It's brilliant, really. And this is where it gets kind of nuts. Just look at the forecast for Zepbound all by itself. Sales are expected to jump from almost $5 billion this year to a mind-boggling $12.5 billion in 2025. That's not just growth, you guys. That's hypergrowth. We are talking about more than doubling the sales of a drug that's already a multi-billion-dollar hit in a single year. And this isn't just about Eli Lilly getting bigger. No, this is about total market domination. Analysts are actually predicting that sales from this one franchise could overtake their biggest rival, Novo Nordisk, as soon as 2026. This is the absolute heart of the bull case for the stock. So here's the bottom line. As one analyst put it, the market is starting to treat Eli Lilly less like a boring, old pharma company and more like a high-flying tech stock. And, well, it comes with all the wild growth expectations that you'd see in Silicon Valley. But you knew there was a but coming, right? For every bull, there's a bear. And the argument from the other side isn't about the growth itself. It's about the unbelievable price you have to pay to get a piece of it. So the whole point for the skeptics is this. Maybe the market has already priced in all that amazing success, and then some. The fear is that all the good news is already reflected in that $1,000 stock price, which leaves basically zero room for anything to go wrong. And wow, this chart just spells it out perfectly. This is the price-to-earnings ratio. It's a basic way to see how expensive a stock is. Eli Lilly is trading at a PE of almost 52. Now compare that to the industry average of about 20 or its direct competitors at under 17. You are paying a massive, massive premium for Lilly shares. It's not even close. So you're left with this classic investor problem. Are you paying a quality premium for a truly special company, like buying a one-of-a-kind mansion in the hottest neighborhood? Or are you just flat out overpaying compared to every other house on the block? And look, when a stock is priced this high for perfection, there is no margin for error. You have to think about the real-world risks. What happens if competitors jump in and force prices down? What if there's an unexpected safety issue or a delay at a manufacturing plant? Any one of those things could put a serious dent in that perfect growth story that the stock price is counting on. So, here we are. We've got two powerful but totally conflicting stories. On one hand, a rocket ship of growth. On the other, a sky-high price tag. So how in the world are we supposed to think about this? Look, the key takeaway here is not a simple buy or sell. It's more about having a framework to think about a company like this. You have to start by admitting, yes, the growth potential is undeniable and it's explosive. But then you immediately have to weigh that against the very, very high price. And finally, you have to be realistic and factor in all those risks that could derail the whole thing. You know, when it comes right down to it, looking at Eli Lilly today is about deciding which of those two stories you believe more. Are you buying into the narrative of tech-like growth that's going to completely redefine what a pharma company can be? Or are you a bit more cautious, worried about those very real pharma-like risks and that super steep price tag? And that right there, that's the billion-dollar question, isn't it? Is this some new breed of company that actually justifies this crazy premium? Or is it a classic case of market hype just getting way ahead of reality? The answer to that question is going to write the next chapter for this totally fascinating stock.